beat of the siren thinker, to the feet of the stomping crowd. I started getting into music and sort of playing music sort of an early age of 4, just because I was sort of fascinated by it, and yeah, it sort of became quite obsessive, and then I started writing my own songs when I was about 14, 15, and then joined a few bands in London, and then now we're here in the monastery. I never wanted to be a singer when I was younger. I thought singing was very naff, and I don't really know what the word is, but I was more into the music and sort of making music and writing songs, and then I think I had a pint one day and I started singing to a sort of crowd of strangers, and then that's what happened. Yeah, lyrics are important to me as the music is. It's sort of the narrative behind the sort of feeling of the music and all of that, and I don't try to simplify anything with my lyrics. I'm not trying to say something that's just as simple, because nothing is. So the songs are very much sort of interpretive and sort of open to interpretation. That's why they're sort of abstract, and I throw some big words in there sometimes just to sound clever. Not really. But yeah, they're very important in
this. We're using an AE60-100 as one of 2 mics for Coco. We've got that and the AE5400. Basically dependent on stage size, because with a lot of the gigs we were doing on the tour, the stages were so tight and we were so close to front of house that using the condenser on it would have been ambitious at best, you know. It's just got a much sort of rounder, low mid-range to it that kind of suits a voice very well. So yeah, it's been great sort of getting her on it so far. But, she's found the transition really good as well for what's coming back to her ears. She's comments on it have been that it's a lot less shrill and just more natural sounding generally. I mean, they're just very, very natural sounding microphones. I first came across Audio-Technica working for a PA company in the Midlands called Stage Audio Services, and they had, when I first started working for them, they had it as their main overhead mics, a couple of 3 pairs of 4050s, and they always sort of made an impression as being, you know, they were kept in their own boxes in a separate drawer in the production case kind of thing. Always sort of made an impression as being sort of top class mics, and yeah, always kind of reflecting in the sound of them as well. So obviously I was fairly thrilled when we found out that we could sort out an endorsement for it through Coco, and everything we've had of them so far has been just brilliant. Like, it's completely transformed the sound of the gig so far. Yeah, we've just used the in-ears for the first time in this sound check, and they sound great from what I can tell from that, obviously. I actually had to, it's a kind of ritual of mine that whenever the first thing I do in checks is wander down to the stage, check that there's no dropouts from the pedals, and I had to come back and check that it was on, because it's just, the noise floor in them is so low, which is just unlike anything I've used before, and then obviously checked it was on by putting some signal through it, and it just sounds really, really good. Far better than I was expecting, so I'm ecstatic with it so far. We're using AE2500s on the guitars because it was tried as a fluke thing, just because we had one and needed to stick something in front of a guitar amp, and it sounded absolutely unbelievable. Due to sort of channel restrictions on the last tour, we could only run with 2 channels of guitar across 2 amps. So I was using the condenser element from both mics to sort of just get a nice sound out of it. And I think we were in Liverpool, the house guys accidentally plugged in the condenser and the dynamic, which was going back to the guitarist's ears. And since then he's just like insisted we've always got 4 channels of guitar, because it just sounds so perfect, you know what I mean? And I don't EQ it either, pretty much. There's a high pass at about 90, 100 hertz, and it's left completely flat, and it works every time. It absolutely rocks. With the drum stuff, obviously the drum mics are fairly new to me, but even from just that sound check, then again it's the same thing. They're barely EQ'd at all, which I think is pretty much the mark of a good mic. You know, I think I'm particularly impressed by the fact as well, one of the mics that we've got on the Toms is from the Pro range, which, as far as I'm aware, is like the 3rd range down, and it still sounds miles better than the competition's sort of top range stuff. Audio-Technica are pretty much the only company that can do that. They seem to be sort of too proud to release bad sounding mics.
There's more to the chick.